Um, let's say, what is the main reason that we want an anti-political dynasty law? Hindi ba ang sinasabi ng mga kababayan natin at sinasabi rin ng ating mga mga eksperto ay yung yung influence ng particular, let's say, governor sa isang probinsya, yung asawa tatakbong vice governor o tatakbong mayor sa taon doon, o kaya tatakbong congressman doon sa district na district niya, may influence, hindi ba? Yun yung sinasabi nila, ang tindi ng influensya, hindi kayang banggain, hindi mahihirapan yung ibang tumakbo. So I think ang naririnig ko, and educate me if otherwise, is ang intention ng anti-political dynasty is wag manipulate ang isa o dalawang posisyon or isang lugar or dalawang lugar o isang distrito ng isang pamilya lamang para nabibigyan ng pagkakataon yung ibang pamilya. Hindi po ba ganun yung intention?
Madam Chair, Your Honor, mukhang yun po yung nakalagay sa kay Senator Ping. Kaya po ang kay Senator Ping Lacson up to the second degree limited to the same city or province or province. So yun po. Unlike po yung dalawa, ay ginawa po nilang nationwide ang scope. Tapos yung isa po kay Senator Padilla, nationwide yung scope kasama ang party list. So sa part po ng commission election, we will have to really study. Wala pa po kaming position as at this point as regards dun sa klase scope ng coverage. Pero maganda po yung nabanggit ng ating kagalang-galang na minority floor leader.
Maganda po pag-aralan nyo at marinig namin ang inyong mga rekomendasyon. Perhaps we could get the opinion of our other resource persons. No? Sapagkat kung let's say merong isang pamilyang may isang kandidatong tumatakbong governor ng Cebu. Pagkatapos yung kanyang kapatid ay tumatakbong mayor ng Pasay. Hindi ko nakikita po yung influence eh. Hindi ba? Ang layo eh. Walang it's not practical. And then while I have the floor, Madam Chairperson, para matanong na rin natin sila at mabanggit ko na rin ito at baka I might have to attend the Blue Ribbon earlier if you don't mind. In the 9th Congress, between 1992 and 1995 yun. Incidentally, the chairman, Attorney Christian Monsod, was the one who gave me the oath in 1992 as my first Senate stint when I won then. We debated an anti-political dynasty law, a bill. It was sponsored by Senator Orly Mercado. And there were debates. My mentor, Senator Ernesto Maceda, the father of Commissioner Ernest Maceda, was egging me to ask questions. So the debate went into the issue of degree of consanguinity. So I asked Orly Mercado, then Senator Mercado, what was the proposal degree of consanguinity, and he said second degree. Ano po ba yung second degree? Sabi niya asawa, kapatid, anak, apo, di ba? Tatay, nanay. Yan, sabi niya, okay. Sabi ko, and I have to admit, si Manong Ernie bumubulong-bulong sa akin. Ako yung pinakabata noon talagang sinusubo nila ako sa kung ano-ano eh. So, binulungan niya ako. Tinanong ko ngayon si Orly. So, paano yung mistress? Hindi nakasagot si Orly. Una sabi, oo nga, wala sa second degree of consanguinity yun eh. Pero ang influensya nun, doon sa lugar, yun pa rin eh. Tatakbong mayor. Tapos na yung term niya, baka tatakbuhin yung mistress niya. So what we will be doing is we will we will declare the family illegal. Pero yung illegal family can run, ano? So, ang sagot ni Orly, ang sagot niya was, let's put it in the law. Ayan. I distinctly remember Senator Neptali Gonzales was the one presiding. Who is the presiding officer during that he was Senate President. He interjected, sabi niya, you cannot put it in the law. Sabi ko, why sir? Sabi niya, you cannot legalize the illegal. Sabi niya. So, the debate stopped there, actually. So when the following Congress or two Congresses after, there was an anti-political dynasty bill. I said, I will support as long as we'll get right away a definition, a very clear definition of what we mean by anti-political dynasty. So I hope you can try to consider that also, Chairman George and our resource person, so that we can come up with a bill that will be that will stand the test of time. Thank you, Your Honors. Thank you.
Thank you, Minority Leader. Kanina biglang akala ko hindi ako nasa Committee on Electoral Participation pero Women and Family Relations. But yeah, these are insights from real legislative experiences. So pwede talagang pag-isipan. And since bagamat ang dami ko pang gustong i-follow up sa presentation ni Chair Garcia kanina, dahil nandito na tayo sa tanong na bakit itong anti-political dynasty. Yes, let us ask Attorney Chris Monsod, isa sa mga framers ng Constitution. Bakit ba inilagay itong anti-dynasty provision sa Constitution? Ano ba yung importansya nun? Ano ba yung layunin nun?
Yes, thank you very much, Your Honor. Maybe I should give you a background of what happened during the Constitutional Commission. Why political dynasty? Why we left it to Congress to define political dynasty, for example. And lately, the question of marriage. You can always put common law marriage to include that. But anyway.
Salamat, Attorney. Just to interject. In fact, that was one of my questions to Chair George na follow-up. Pero salamat for mentioning that. I was going to ask, what about common law partners? So, salamat po. Please proceed.
Well, let me give you the context or history of this. The prohibition on political justice is a social justice issue. During the deliberations, mostly on September 24, 1986, I asked that the prohibition be deleted on the ground that it is anti-democratic to disqualify from being voted upon an otherwise competent and honest candidate who happens to belong to a dynasty, thereby depriving the country of his or her services. Other commissioners said that dynasties are the result and not the cause of an unjust social order, and given the new spirit of solidarity of social reform from EDSA, we should trust the people to make the right choices who deserve to be voted into public office. Moreover, it should be enough to guarantee, and I quote, equal access to opportunities for public service, period, without dynasties. My motion was voted down by a vote of 17 to 18. But because there was a question on the procedure in voting, the session was suspended before my motion for reconsideration was put to a vote. During the informal discussions, several of my co-framers came to me, and a consensus developed among us. One, the exclusionary effect on a dynastic person is less than the exclusionary effect on many candidates who are poor or from humble backgrounds who do not have a chance against entrenched political power. Number two, the provision would complement and close a loophole in the term limits of elected officials. Number three, the call for a new social order based on social justice in the Constitution we were writing cannot be fulfilled without affirmative action mandated by the Constitution itself. The 1987 Constitution is a major departure from the 1973 and 1935 Constitution that focused more on the protection of civil and political rights. Under the 1987 Constitution, social and economic rights were equal to, and in some cases, more important than civil and political rights, such as the Bill of Rights. Thus, the inclusion of an unprecedented separate and new article on social justice, Article 13, and the appearance of social justice provisions in other articles of the Basic Law, such as Article 12 on the national economy, Section 6, quote, subject to the duty of the state to promote distributive justice and to intervene when the common good so requires. It became clear to me that the benefits to the country of the prohibition far outweighed as its cost. I withdrew my motion for reconsideration and voted for the final version that now appears in the Constitution. It was clear from our deliberations that what was going to be prohibited were both successive and simultaneous occupation of public office, principally in local government, plus the district congressional seat, also party list, which is a national office but voted upon by total local constituency. The problem being addressed was monopoly power and warlord control of provinces and cities. The inclusion of national office was left to the Congress, as well as to right to define the meaning of dynasty. However, given the growth and growing power of dynasties in a feudalistic system, I recommend that national office be included in the prohibition. The question often asked, why did we leave the legislation as well as the definition of dynasty to Congress? The answer was that the Commission thought that by including that mandate in the Declaration of Principles and State Policies, surely the Congress would enact an implementing law, and the extent and gravity of the problem may change over time. Today, it may extend beyond the fourth degree. In later years, after we have gained political maturity, the problem may be limited to 3 degrees or 2 degrees or only 1 degree, father and son, husband and wife. And it's only the Congress which can calibrate with timely legislation the prohibitions according to the needs of the times. As it turned out, the EDSA moment in our country quickly dissipated and self-interest quickly returned. No implementing legislation has been passed in 38 years, and to aggravate the situation, even well-meaning attempts to pass one are being watered down to meaningless levels and are ultimately abandoned. To top it all, the same arguments are still being advanced that have been disproven by the clear evidence of history that the term limits are being brazenly circumvented. The dynasty problem is entrenched more deeply in the feudalism of our society.
Just to briefly interject, Attorney Chris, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Erwin Tulfo, author, together with Chair Ping Lacson of Senate Bill number 35. Thank you for joining us, sir. Please proceed.
Yes. This is manifested in a vicious cycle of power, corruption, money politics, in some places, private armies, social legislation with loopholes. For example, Hacienda Luisita distributed shares of stock instead of land. Fortunately, we won the case in the Supreme Court. The implementation of programs that defer to the rich and the powerful, and decisions by the Supreme Court that ignore the broader concept of social justice under the 1987 Constitution. There is something very wrong going on in our country today, and the road back to the promise of EDSA and the vision of the Constitution to fulfill it is going to be very difficult